Yo, yo, yo. The legend it is.
Well, legend it was. A mate of mine I'd known for years, he's walked in one day and showed me this 40-pounder, Richmond Park. Every now and again I just fall off the line, I'll have a little search around down the bottom of the lake. But look, listen, I've got the old bill here beside me. Whatever you do, don't mention my name. I'm 68 and I reckon I'll climb. I've thrown out more trees than I will climb. Come on, my guy. Whoa, look at that weed coming up there. Look. Well, I'll tell you what we won't, because I haven't turned it on.
Well, you know who I am now as well.
Absolutely, so I know how to get inside your head. Which is someplace you don't want me to be.
Yo, yo, yo. Right, for this month's main feature, I've managed to secure something a little bit special for you and myself. I've managed to arrange 2 days fishing with Ritchie Mcdonald. Now, Ritchie is a legend of the scene. Anyone who's been around for quite a while would have heard his name and probably looked up to him in their younger days and learnt a lot from this man. Now, he did have a bit of a break from the carp fishing world, but he's now back and absolutely loving his fishing again. So I've come up to Norton Disney, which is actually where he's living at the moment. An awesome complex. Obviously it's one of the newer embryo waters, multitude of lakes and a huge amount of big carp. So yeah, a pretty special place already, but in the future it's going to be absolutely obscene. Now, Richie's got loads of stories, obviously, because you know, he was doing a lot of fishing back in the day, and yeah, as I say, he's got a lot of stories to tell. So I'm really excited for this one. I'm going to be plopping my rods out myself at some point, but the focus for me is not the fishing, it's just to enjoy Richie's company and extract a few mega stories from him. So without further ado, let's crack on.
All right, son, I've got one in the weed, mate.
Have you?
Yeah, it's took me by surprise. I only had one bleep, but it was already in the weed before I even got to the rod.
Oh, bloody hell.
And anyway, it's had a little bit of a tussle in there with me, but I put it on the slack line now. It's took a little bit of line, but I've still it's still caught quite solid. Just into my left, it is.
All right, then, Dad, I'll speak to you, because I'm just getting all the timber ready for this swim.
Okay then, mate. Well, I've rung Benny, it's not answered. So, is you in the office then?
Yes. I'll give him a ring now.
You ring. All right, and thanks a lot, mate.
All right, Dad.
Cheers. Cheers, son. Right. Okay.
They call you Dad, do they?
Yeah, some do. Some call me Grandad. It's great. We have a great bit of camaraderie on here. Excellent. They're all fantastic people at what they do. Yeah, let's hope it's a nice big fish. It's just taking a sunbathe. But I'm not fishing very far out from the weed, but I expect it to run away, not back into me. So that was a little bit of a shocker, that surprise. But while we're waiting, because I do want to go and get a shave and get myself ready for the filming that we're doing now already. So we get these rods in out of the way.
That's a shame, mate.
Yeah, never mind.
Didn't even put much pressure on the movement, to be honest.
No, well. Jesus Christ.
And cut.
But you're never going to get a fish through that, are you?
Get yourself a bit lower.
You right? You fit?
Sweet.
When you're ready.
Right. First of all, Richie, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Joe, for coming.
Pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too, mate.
The legend it is.
Well, legend it was.
No, still are, mate, in many people's eyes, that's for sure. Well, first of all, we'll set the scene, I guess. We're up at Norton Disney. Holden's Lake, is it?
This is Holden's, yes. It's got fishing up here, up about 35 plus, thereabouts. But it's a lovely lake, as you can see. The fish are moving about, they are getting caught. I've lost 2 this morning, unfortunately. one while you were here, wasn't it?
But
So
you had a few yesterday, though.
I've had a few yesterday, I had 4 or 5 yesterday, up to 24.
Nice.
But I've been losing a few, and so far so good, because basically I don't think any of them have been any size. I think they've all been about £10 or £12, maybe £14. So I'm not happy about losing them, but happy they're not big ones.
Fair play.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, it looks like you know, quite a nice lake. Obviously, these are fairly new, these lakes, aren't they? But they're maturing pretty quick.
Yeah, they're very mature. I mean, they're well looked after. I mean, Ben and all his team, like all the bailiffs, they all do work night and day basically. Sway's a living bailiff. Jordan's virtually is the same, and then Scotty and several others. Ewan and Ben office work mainly, and the rest of the bailiffs just work around the lake. They do the weeding, the trimming, the trees, everything. You name it, they do it. Any fish found dead, they have to do that dirty job of getting them out of the water and so on and so forth.
And yeah, it's nice to see that it's well looked after and nurtured.
Well, they're very good to me. I mean, I ask on a regular basis, what can I help to do today? Nothing for you to do. No, nothing. They won't let me do nothing. Could have broke my foot a few years ago. They think I'm an old codger now. Well, I am anyway. But so.
How old are you now, Richie?
I'm 68, mate. 68 old.
68.
But,
Oh, okay.
but I do clean the toilets up there. I do that for them. So that's something that I can put back for letting them give me fishing.
And you've been up here a while now, haven't you?
But that was since last November, mate. I've fished billies, petits, and this one.
Got a favourite yet?
Yes.
Probably petits, I bet.
Well, I'm not sure. It's a
bigger
toss
ones,
up between petits and turners, because they both got the biggest fish in.
Got ya.
But I've not fished turners yet, and I think they're moving me on there in a week or so.
Nice.
So I'm going to do a little bit a while on there, and plus there's a 36-pound common I saw in there. That's actually weighed, because I saw it on the bank, and that's got my name on it already. So that's one target fish I will be looking for on there.
Mega. So how long have you actually been back into it then?
Only since last a year, last April. Right, what happened? I had a bad time for nearly 30 years, alcoholic. Simon Hartop has been a long-standing friend for over 30 years, and I used to get out on the bank with him several times a year. Never wore my old cap or was recognised. I was always drinking. Basically, come December, a year gone, decided I wasn't going to do it anymore. So I went to bed. I didn't expect to get out of bed again, because the doctor said I'd die if I stopped drinking straight away.
Wow.
And I did think I was going to. And then my neighbour, who was a very old friend of mine, his mum said, "Listen, he's not well. He ain't eating." And they started bringing me in these, because they're African, and they make this really African stew stuff. And anyway, I got well. And basically, when Simon came to see me in February, he noticed I didn't have a can in my hand. He said, "You're not drinking?" I said, "I stopped." Wow. He said, "You're kidding me?" I said, "No, I ain't had a drink since December." Wow. Right, let's get you out. So we went round Hindle's, the British Carp Sally Group water. He said, "What do you think?" I said, "I think I could like it on here." So basically, backwards and forwards. He also was instrumental in me doing a bit of fishing on my own a couple of years ago, when I was still bad on the drink. I was fishing on the Thames for a couple of weeks, but I didn't enjoy it because I was drinking so much. I wasn't really doing anything at all. And then basically, when Simon realised I'd stopped drinking, that's when he started saying, "Well, you better come and have a look at this and have a look at that." And so the next time he turned up with Damien Clark, who's an old friend of mine, or an old acquaintance at the time, but he's a very good friend now. And I haven't got nothing. I made a few people money back in the day where I didn't get my fair cut of some people, but that's gone. And on the way home, all I can say is what Simon said to me was, on the way home, Damien's driving, and he just turned and said, "We better get Ritchie some fishing tackle." Awesome. And basically what you see around me is what they've given me, like.
That's brilliant.
And then from there, they sent me to one of their new lakes, syndicate, Iris, in Denham. And it was a monster to get round. Anyway, so I get there with Simon Hartop to help me. And I don't know if you remember, back in the day when I used to make the Galaxy plastic boxes for the Matchmen, someone also made a trolley for them. Okay. That's the trolley I had to get my gear around with. And I got that. I didn't get that big thing there, but I got that great big thing there. There's everything. Simon's helped me for half the day, and said, "Well, I've got to get back now." So he's gone back. And then I thought, there ain't no one on the lake. I'm going to drive. So anyway, I drove, and I got out. As I got out, there was a car behind me. It's a bailiff, Dougal. I said, Dougal, I've had to drive my feet, because I broke my foot, my foot's killing me. He said, don't worry, mate, where's your swim? I said, just round the corner. He said, drive round to the swim. Right, so that was that scenario. And then I'm sitting in the bivvy. I've caught some fish. I caught the Lake Record 28-12 at the time. And so I had company, I had Dougal, and I won another good angler, George. I call him George the Hook, that's for reasons that I will remain anonymous for now. And I was sitting inside the bivvy, making the tea while they were sat outside, we were all joined. And Danny turned up. I could hear Danny talking. And the first thing he says, I don't want none of these vans parked round outside swims like Farlow's and all that malarkey. So I stuck my head out. Oh, hello, Richie, hello, Dan, how you doing, mate? Boss. So I said, oh, sorry, Dan. And Dougal said, I said we could park there because of his foot. I said, sorry, Dan, I'll move it like tomorrow or later on. So he said, yeah, that's all right, mate. So he says, how long you been here? So, right, just to go back a little bit, I'll carry on that. The only two rules, other than the normal rules, I've got to abide by is no swimming and no climbing. That's why there's a ladder there. So, right, going back to the story. So Danny's there, and I'm not allowed to climb trees or swim. They're Danny's personal rules, because he knows I'd be in the lake hunting about. Right, so I've done none of that on none of his waters. So, right, so he didn't want a cup of tea because that was the time of the COVID. We didn't even shake hands, so we just had a clench. Now we have a proper cuddle. Anyway, so he said, okay, then blah, 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 and everything's fine. And he walked off and he looked at the old ladder because he was up against the tree. He looked at the old ladder, so he's given a wry smile round and just walked off, right? Never said nothing. Next thing you know, now Damien lives in Essex. Denham is a long way from Essex, a very long way. The next thing I know, he's walking along the bank and he's got my favourite cakes. And I'm thinking, there's a problem here. There's a problem. So, all right, mate, a cup of tea. I said, what's the matter? He says, well, I've got some good news and some bad news. What do you want first? I said, well, you give me the bad news. He said, I've got to move you off to another lake. I said, that's the bad news. He said, no, the bad news is you've been here, so you're only supposed to be here for 72 hours. And you've been here for 2 weeks. That's what I've come out to tell you. I said, oh, right, so where's the new lake? He said, well, it's up in Balkin, but there's a little bit of bad news there as well. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, you can do what you like there, but you can't swim and climb trees. Right, because Danny says so. I said, oh, I know that. So then he turned around and says, but there's only 20s and doubles in there. I said, I don't care what's in there, Damien, I just want to get my hand back in, you know. Anyway, first fish, thanks to Simon Artott, by the way, because he done the casting out while I was messing about with the bivvy trying to get a rate. So the first fish was down to him, really. And that was 32-12. And I rung Damien up straight away. I said, wait, what are you taking the mick out of me or what? There's 30-pounders in here. Anyway, I ended up catching 10 30s.
Did you really?
Yeah, I mean,
Danny,
I met some of the top anglers today, Stokesy and various other top anglers that came out and caught loads of fish as well. And I think the record now for the lake's 35 plus.
Wow.
So
they're doing well in there then?
Yeah, they're doing well in all their waters.
What I'd like to know is, you know, from so long not fishing and then fishing again, how did you feel?
Wow, well it's immensely different. The attitudes are different. Look, I started fishing when I was 11 years old. I saw cliffs of the carp, the 44 pounder caught from Redmond by Dick Walker in 1952 at the age of 13.
Wow.
I know virtually everybody that's caught big carp right up until the day I stopped. Right the way back to Bob Richards or Richards catching the first fish at first 30 pound at Redmond, which he gaffed. That goes back, and then that's when Walker found out about it. And things, a lot of these people I meet on these lakes don't even know who Dick Walker was, don't even know who I am. I mean, I've been away for 30 years, but at least I was a top rod back in the day. I mean, when I met people like Maurice Ingham and that, I mean, I knew who he was straight away. Although he was elderly and that, and various other anglers I met, John McLeod and people like that. I knew who they were, and respect, you know, Bill Quillen, Len Harvey, people that I actually fish with. But some of these young anglers, I mean, the top anglers know who the oldest people are, but some of these younger anglers ain't got a clue.
you think that's like a bit of the modern age is people aren't so worried about history as much? They don't like tend to research history.
I don't think they need to anymore, because basically, I mean, I don't watch the YouTube and stuff like that because I'm useless with phones and cameras and stuff like that. But I know Danny Fairbrass has done so much, and there's various other companies that are doing similar things. So, I mean, there was a lad here the other week, and he just flipped on. He said, "Oh look, you're on YouTube." I said, "What?" And of course, I've done some other work, and it's up on YouTube. I don't even know about it. You know what I mean? And I said, "Amazing." And so basically, if you're a young angler and you ain't got a clue what's going on out there, you just got to flick onto YouTube, and it's already there for you in black and white.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I wish it was there in my day, because I would have learned more quickly than what I have in my day, because I couldn't read and write very well. So it was a struggle for me to read stuff, you know, Dick Walker's stuff, it was, you know, it was right trouble, you know.
Well, there was such a lack of information back then anyway.
There was, yeah, I mean...
it was also new.
Yeah, and people, you didn't have stuff what you've got today. I mean, you just go on the internet, just call, like, I've got an Instagram page now. I don't run it, but Ben does. Anything personal, he comes to me and says, "What should we say?" Blah, blah, blah. But I can catch a fish here now, and all my Instagram people can know about it within 10 minutes. That's a, you know, I've got 40-odd thousand. Well, that podcast that I've done for Corda, they had 40,000 views there in 3 months. I didn't even think there was 40,000 anglers. Honestly, I mean, it's mushroomed so much.
Yeah.
Well, Damien asked me on our podcast, "Do you think this is head and shoulders about anything you knew?" Something like, and this is not. It's waist above anything I ever knew. Absolutely phenomenal pace of fishing now. The accuracy of anglers that some top anglers might consider idiots. You know, I'm not saying they are, because they can cast better than I can. I mean, I've seen Stokesy cast a spawn from on the other side of the lake, so I can see how it's landing on the tree line I've marked it up on, and it's every time he's doing this is at 100 yards. Now, my marker floats out there. You might be able to see it with the camera later on. It's only out there 40 yards, and I'm lucky if I get that 3 or 4 times, and that's not even a long chuck. But the way I fish, I don't want to hit it anyway. I want to be beside it and a little line that way, sort of thing, you know.
Sort of spread your bait about.
So I do fish the same way as I used to, because the lads do get on at me about using wraps, sticks, stuff like that. I'm determined to keep trying to catch my fish on my methods, and the only thing I'm using is Damien's Calder's rigs. Damien sometimes ties me up, and thanks also Rob Burgess, it's give me a bit of, but it's all mainline stuff that they use, but they just put their little bits and pieces in it. It's all mainline stuff they use, but they all mix it up in different cocktails. And they sometimes give me a little bit if they think I'm struggling. So that's thanks to all them lads. Neil Spooner was the last one to give me some stuff. I'm not sure as to say what it is, but it is mainline stuff.
Oh well, it sounds like you've been well looked after.
Very well looked after, yeah.
And it's just good to see that, you know, you're buzzing for it again.
Yes, I mean, listen. The other thing is, I'm manic depressive. I've had it all my life. I have medication for it. I still get me down days, without a doubt. Sometimes it might last a couple. And it ain't because I'm losing fish like that. That don't bother me. The only thing that bothers me, if it was a big fish, then I would get a real down day. But there's nothing in there big enough to get me down. And that's not being rude, that's being absolutely truthful. The fish that I'm losing are small, 10 pounders, 15 pounders. I don't mind losing them, as long as they're not getting hurt, because we're using barber to sort the hooks in and out anyway. So there's no rips on them or nothing like that. The only bad fish that I've caught a 24 pounder, which is a beautiful fish. And in the weed just there, it was weeded up, and obviously the line has got one of its scales off. That was a bit upsetting when I saw that. But other than that, everything's...
So like the fishing, do you find that because I mean, I know I did, like I had a couple of years break from fishing. All my life I'd fished, and then once I'd had a couple of years break and kind of lost my way a little bit, got myself a little bit down, and then started fishing again and realised just how beneficial the fishing was for your kind of mental health.
It's absolutely, I mean, I honestly didn't understand how beneficial it would be. Simon
We just took it for granted, didn't we, because we always done it.
Well, yeah, absolutely granted. Simon Pitt, he's a psychoanalyst, psychotherapist, right? And we become very good friends because he was helping me and I didn't even know he was helping me until much later on. And when I was on Bulking, the lake that Damien and Danny sent me to, and Matt Pettis, by the way, when I was on there, I'd get me down days and there was no one to talk to because I was on there on my own most of the time. But Simon would come out on a regular basis to photograph fish, and Rich, I can't think of his last name now, used to work for Typography, used to come out now and again, and Josh the bailiff. But I wasn't catching fish every 5 minutes to get photographed. I mean, these were big fish I was looking for, and they come out for a 30 or a 25 plus, but not for the doubles. I wouldn't ask them for that. And so I had a few lonesome times there, but what was getting me down a few times was the algae weren't getting any better, and come October time, it was getting worse, and fewer people were coming, because I had also guest anglers there. Some were my guests, some were James Turner's guests, some were other people's guests, whoever. And great times. I never met a bad person. I still haven't. I met hardly any bad people at all since I've been back fishing. Everyone's been kind and polite. It's been really good. And so that helps me when I am depressed. If someone comes and says, "Hello, Richie, nice to meet you," blah, 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 blah. That helps a great deal.
Nice. Well, so I was going to say, I can see why it's nice being somewhere like this then, you know?
Well, I mean, this is heaven, like, because basically it's written on, Danny Fairbrass has got my last year's calendar. Because when he came out to Balkan to have a couple of days with me, he was isolating, so I didn't go and have a cup of tea with him, and he didn't come and have a cup of tea, but we did have a conversation about 50 yards apart, thereabouts. And he said, "Well, how many you had now then?" So I got my calendar out, and I was just going through it, like, I said, "Well, whatever." And he said, "You know what, that'll be worth a few quid one day." I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, Danny, it's yours after this season." So anyway, after that, I went down there a couple of times, and Simon Pitt was on my case. He said, "Hey, all right," and come out cheering me up and that, yeah. And then in October, I had a real downtime, because the algae was that thick. Well, it was that thick, like, you know, you drop a bait in and bloop, and it all come up green, and it was really depressing. I was catching much fewer fish, and I thought, this is not good conditions to be in. And then Simon actually came out, and he could see that I didn't try and tell him I was down, he could see that I was down. So he mentioned words to certain people, and there's certain people been behind this that I'm not fully aware of. So whoever you are, thank you very much, because I know Matt was behind it, I know James Turner was behind it, but I know there's one or two other people, Damien I know, and Danny obviously. But there's one or two others been behind it to get me out here, and so thank you very much for those who I don't know, not been told about yet. And so basically it's written on that calendar, move into heaven, and I moved here on November the 4th. And then I fished in Billy's for a couple of weeks, and the reason they put me over there is because my foot was quite bad, and they wanted me to have an area where was a fishing area where I was near to the van, because I was dependent on my van for me charging me vapes and all that. But now that I've got all this other electrical stuff, I don't need the van now, so I can basically go anywhere.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really great.
Excellent. All right, mate. Well, I think if you fancy it, we'll have a cup of tea and then maybe go back to the start.
Absolutely,
Young
yeah.
Richie.
Yeah, I'll let you lead the way, my son.
Well, I'd literally only been in my swim 2 minutes. Heard a little call and Richie's in again. Same rod, mate, yeah?
Yeah. This time I managed to keep him off that weed bed dead tight. But he's still not out. I'm still not out of clear yet. The only good thing about him is I can see him. But he's going back towards that weed now. Yeah, oh, come on, mate. If he gets down now, I've had it. Right, we're better off. Okay, I can relax a bit. I want to fight him out there because I've got loads of weed here.
Sort of tire him out there first.
Yeah, I want him to do the business out there. I don't want him coming up over this weed in case he dives down. And it'll be a nightmare, like the one earlier this morning. Not a good idea doing that, stepping over your rods. That's a bit of a necessity, yeah. Even on Barbara silk you still need to use tweezers sometimes.
Like you say, it saves you getting a hook in your finger as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, but more importantly, this does not tear the fish's mouth. Right. Will we chance using the same bait again? What do you think? I think not. Right, she weighed 24 pounds in the bag. Bag weighs 4 pounds. She weighed 24 and some ounces, but she's 20 pounds anyway.
Very nice. Well done, mate.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Result.
Right. Well, thanks very much for your entertainment. It's now time to go back and tell your mum and dad where I am. Gently, Daddy, that's it. Now go and tell them where I am. Good girl.
Cool, right then, I think it would be rude not to go back to the start. So, you know, obviously, where did you grow up when you were young?
South Acton.
And where's that exactly?
That's London, isn't it? South Acton, East Acton, North Acton, Chiswick.
Is that on the west side?
Wembley, yeah, North, yeah. It's this side of London.
My geography's pretty poor, isn't
No, mine's crap.
How about fishing then? When did you first start to get
Well, yeah, well, basically, my mum won a bingo kit, which was a little silly reel, float hooks and stuff like that. And the geezer upstairs on the 4th floor, Tony, and his dad used to go quite regular, so he invited me one time. We went to the canal, and I didn't really like the canal, to be honest. And he gave me this float that came with his kit was like a pike float. Anyway, they put maggots on and stuff like that. So as soon as that thing goes under it was bobbing about for ages. Anyway, when I did strike it, I whacked it so hard it went over this geezer's fence, because you know he got a fence right beside the canal towpath. The geezer was out mowing his lawn, and I just said, "Can I have that fish back, mate?" And so that was the start of it.
So before you went then, had you had an inclination to go? Had you seen people fishing?
No, that was my first.
Your mum won that kit?
No, otherwise I probably wouldn't have been fishing today if it weren't for that.
Amazing.
And I didn't enjoy the venue, but I enjoyed the feeling of catching the fish, like, although it went over the geezer's garden. But I don't know how long ago later it was that they said, "We're going to a lake now, do you want to come there?" Yeah. So I went to this lake, and then I saw this fella that was fishing different than everybody else. So I wandered round, his rods fishing high over some lily pads, had a keep net out, and I said to him, "What are you fishing for, mate, mister?" And he said, "Carp." I said, "You caught any of these?" "Yeah." And he showed me a 6 pound common. And I've caught some big fish myself, but that's still the biggest fish I've ever seen. It was just ginormous, you know.
Those memories when you were young.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seeing them out in the lake, and I remember there's a little lake we used to go to. They just look like whales to us.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Uncatchables.
You're one of the first people that's ever actually re-commented on that. I mean, normally I just, well, anyway, so after that, me and Tony, we went a couple of times to the park, and I used to live on the 1st floor. And through our couple of expeditions, and maybe 3 or 4, so we found out it was better to fish for carp at night. And don't forget, I was only about 12 now, maybe 13, because I've been a few times, so I've been maybe 13. And I got friendly with one of the yobbos that lived down the road, and he was a keen fisherman, like, and he used to bunk out at night. Well, I used to live on the 1st floor. So my mum used to wait up until midnight. In the days, you used to have the dot come on the television at 12 o'clock, not like that. It's a good job it weren't 24 hours then, because I'd never be able to go fishing. Honestly, she'd wait until the dot and then she'd go to bed. And as soon as she'd go to bed, I'd get my gear out and I'd lower it down off the balcony and then climb over the balcony and down. And we walked to Gunsbury Park. And well, I was catching fish to £3 and the odd tench.
Off the top, or how were you fishing then?
I'm fishing on the bottom.
Right.
We did fish on floating crust bread at the time, and we was fishing bread flake mainly. Nothing like what we got today, but bread flake and then bread on the top sometimes more, and even dropping it. I remember reading an article of one of the lads saying, "Oh, the geese just lowering off the rod top," so we done that at Gundry Park. Now, bearing in mind, I didn't know how to tie knots then, and honestly, how I was catching these fish, this is the honest truth, I was catching fish with just double knotted shoelace knots. You know, when you tie your shoelaces up and you do the double knots to make sure it don't come undone. And that's how I was catching fish, but they weren't fighting hard. But the ones that did fight, they broke. And so, I've got a bit of stuff on my head here. And so, one of the lads said that they're lowering it down off, and these fish were dead close into the margins, right underneath the rod top. So it just loads of them. And I remember losing about 8 fish one night. They just lowered it down and they were just straight away. And then I think the best fish I caught from there was about 3-4 pounds. That was it. And my mum didn't believe me. So one day I caught one and I took it home. And I couldn't believe it. I mean, this was about an hour for me to get backwards and forwards. And I put it in my bag with a wet cloth, got it home, right. And when I opened the bag, it flapped. My mum weren't in. So I run the bath and put it in the bath. And like a fool, I mean, don't forget I was like 13 or 14-year-old kid here. And it kept coming out going, I thought I was hungry. So I kept throwing bread in, not realising it had no bloody oxygen, you know what I mean? But anyway, my mum come in and went mental, absolutely mental. Get that fish out. So I had to take the fish back out, put it back, and I'll tell you what, I put it back in the rucksack, right? Back in the wet cloth, took it back to the lake and released it, and it swam away. Wow. Honestly. Never to be seen again, I don't think, I don't know.
Just shows you how hardy they are, though.
Yeah, they are hardy, quite hardy, without a doubt. I mean, that 45-12 I had back in 1984, if anyone ever watches that video, you time it, that fish has been out of water for 15 minutes. And all it gets is a couple of cups of water from Flush Instant, not like the buckets they get today, but listen, we didn't know as much as you lot know today, back then. So back to me teenage years, and then I started going to places like Osterley Park, and we went on some place in West Drayton, where we was catching small carp, and it wasn't until 1970, 69, 70, I met Johnny Walker, and then he started me getting into the bigger, better venues, like so joined Cut Mill, joined Longfield, which now is Foxpool. My first 20 was in 1972. Other than that, I was catching doubles right up till then. Fish Broadwater Lake in Godalming. Caught a high percentage of doubles out of there. That was my learning curve, basically. Caught fish out there on potatoes. No one uses potatoes anymore. Potatoes, boiled eggs, even a full boiled egg. My mate Vic Gillings, bless him, he's passed now. Because we was making cat food up. We only throwing them out a rod length out. So you're making cat footballs up like that because we keep catching smaller fish, like 2 and 3 and 4 pounds. We wanted to catch big doubles. We thought, the bigger the fish, the bigger the mouth. How untrue that was. And of course, we were lobbing these balls out, and what was happening, I know now, I didn't know then, all these little fish would be going bang, 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 and break it down, all of a sudden there'd be a bare hook there. And then watch, a hook would get sucked up, basically like how we're fishing today. And so you could say I was using a herring long before it ever started, but not knowing it. And then
potatoes, did you used to do anything with them, or just as they were?
No, like a fool, I didn't know about tin potatoes. We used to parboil our potatoes, mate. Me and Johnny Allen. I remember we went, when I first met Johnny Allen, I met him at Broadwater Lake. Or did I? Stan Talbot's Lake, it might have been. And we went, someone caught a 37 pounder off the River Nene. So we went up there for a weekend using potatoes because it had been caught on a parboiled potato.
That was a monster back then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, oh yeah. My first 30 was in 1977. And then after, that's when I first hit the news.
Where was your first 30 from then?
Ashley Pool.
Oh yeah, classic. Mate.
And I mean, if it weren't for Peter Murray, I probably wouldn't be known today. Because I had no intention of publicising anything. I mean, back in the day, the British Carp Study Group, Chris Ball, he asked me and Johnny Walker to join. Also, Mike Starkey asked us to join. We weren't interested. It wasn't until we went to a show up in London there, and we saw Jack Hilton, Bill Quinlan, the likes of Len Arbery and all these other, and quite a few of them were supporting the old British Carp Study Group there. So we looked at it and I said, I think we better join this place, it might be good. And then I remember reading some good stuff, you know, when I say me reading it, my missus actually at the time helped me to read a bit better than what I could. I read it not too bad now, I mean, but I don't like reading because I can't read. What I do, I read a sentence and I'll get bored of it and I'll jump about 4 or 5 lines. I think, I wonder what he was on about, and I have to go back again.
So what exactly was the British Carp Study Group all about then? Was it just some good anglers who got together?
They were very good anglers. I mean, you had the likes of Wilton and back Bob Morris and all the top anglers back in the day were in it, basically.
I can remember when I was little, people talking about it and them saying, oh, you've got to be a carp angler for at least 10 years before you can get in.
Well, it's something like that, yeah. But I mean, we were invited in because basically, I mean, I had a gift. I mean, I could catch fish out of a puddle, so someone's told me in the past. And Chris Ball was mentioned in numerous articles that he's done. If I put my name on a carp, I've caught it before I've left the house, because it's tunnel vision. Everything's got to be done to that specific fish. If I find out where it is, then I'll hunt it, and then I'll keep hunting it and keep hunting it until I catch it. And once you find a fish's routine, it shouldn't be too difficult to catch. It's finding the routine, and that's why trees are important to climb. That's why I've got a ladder, because I'm not allowed to climb trees.
So when did you start targeting specific fish? Right, I'm going to go for that one.
But basically, after I caught the 30 at Ashley Pool, I thought, right, this weren't too difficult, because all I'd done, when I say too difficult, what I'd done, I lived in London, Ashley Pool's in Gloucester, and I went twice a week baiting up. And of course I caught the biggest fish first. I mean, I fished there in 1976, but in the drought. And I was going to go on the radio the other night because they were talking about the drought in 1976. I was going to tell them about my fishing. I was going to say the fish were getting a lot bigger because we did not realise the water was getting smaller. But I thought I better not. I'll say it here anyway. And so in 1976 I went there, and I see the fish all right, but they were doing nothing. So me and Vic went up there a few times, and they just weren't having it. So we went there in 77, but because I could see what they were doing, and Mr. Perry, who owned it at the time, he was digging out some of the lake, about half an acre or a quarter of an acre, something like that. And carp, what I did know about carp then was not as much as I know now, but then I knew that if there's a new opening somewhere, they're going to investigate it, without a doubt. Let only go for carp, go to most species. You open up an area in a lake, they'll go in there and have a look. So I just pre-baited this new dug area. And of course I had lucky that first night, and in the morning I had another a 20, and then I very rarely fished it after that. The record was the record for the lake, and then
It was quite a famous one, that Lucky, wasn't it? Is it?
Yeah, very famous. I mean, I called it best at the time at 32.12, and then Peter Moen rang me up and said, "Oh, want you to put that in the paper?" But I didn't want to. He said, well, if you don't put it in the paper, you won't be getting in the syndicate next year. So I put it in the paper, but I didn't get a syndicate next year anyway, because I didn't want to get it, because I was on my eye on red mire then. And red mire was a dream come true, actually, absolutely.
God, I mean, I can't even imagine what it must have been like fishing it in them days with them fishing it.
Fantastic. I was the
There was
first.
nowhere else like it, was there?
No, not to me there weren't, and there still ain't. I mean, there's nowhere ever took over red mire from back then. I mean, red mire is not the same as it was to me now, obviously. I mean, there's better lakes around now.
But why do you think it was? Was it just because of the strain that had been put into this lake,
definitely the leaning
rich
strain.
lake? And
Definitely the strain of fish there, the anglers that fished there, plus the record was caught there twice.
But how did they get so big compared to everywhere else? It's mad.
Well, Chris's Yates got big because it was spawn bound for 3 years. So the story goes. But the other fish, I mean, there's pictures in one of the books that I moseyed through years ago with a fish next to a boat that looked humongous. I mean, that could have been tricked photography, I don't know. But I certainly thought there was big fish in there when I fished there. I mean, I caught big fish, I caught them up to 31.8, but I did poach that one. I was the first one to admit that I went and poached red mar because they threw me out and they had no reason to throw me out. So I thought, right, stick it up your arse. And so I went and poached it.
What, in the close season?
In the close season, the week before the season started. And that was funny because I took a mate of mine who showed me the air rig the year before. And we went up there and we parked up on the fields, by the fields, and just put a note, broken down. But you couldn't do it today because I've been to Redmar a couple of weeks ago and that's so busy now, that road, you couldn't do it now. So I just put a note there, broken down, walked through the farmer's field and we went right round in the shallows out of the way. My mate Dennis Davis caught a 26. And then in the morning, the farmers were going frantic. There's someone on the property, and they knew someone was there.
Were you crapping it or?
Yeah, we didn't have a bivvy, brought it up or nothing. I thought, oh, bloody hell, I know we're here then. I said, right, I'm going to go in front of them, because they were walking up and down the fields. They see our footprints, you know, it's a bleeding field. So anyway, Mr. Davis, I seen him coming around past the dam. I said, he's going to come over, he's going to come down back. So I went in front of him. So I walked, hello Mr. Davis, how you doing? Because don't forget I was a member the year before. Oh, hello there, how you doing? Has the season started? I said, yeah, it started last week, Mr. Davis. Oh, all right then. Away he went, right, then, away we go. We're round on the evening swim. And then, of course, I caught the 31.8.
He stayed. Oh, brilliant.
And then we moseyed off as soon as I caught the 31.8, pulled it back. The first person I run was Chris Yates. Chris has just been a red and caught the 31.8. Oh, well done, mate, well done. Yeah.
Well, he didn't even. Well, he would have known it was close season, wouldn't he? So
yeah, of course he would. Yeah,
I
I don't know who I was in contact with now. I can't remember everybody. I contacted to some of the people because some of the people, well, it was with some of the Redmar people. Their backs were in the wrong place, and basically because I was catching fish, some of them didn't like it. Barry Mills being one. I will name him because he's still around. Barry Mills, and he put in a claim that I was shutting the boat lid at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, well, of course I was, mate. It was pissing down the rain. I couldn't shut the boat, and I was slamming it. Noise don't affect fish, mate.
Oh, there we go. Go on, the right hand rod.
Here we go.
Yeah. Well, that was good timing.
Well, not really, because I wanted to be on a bit quicker than that. It's right next to the weed there. It's off.
Ah, gutted.
That's not a problem.
He'd read the script.
Yeah.
That's a shame.
Never mind.
Well, that's yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, mate.
Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, the weed is quite fat over there. I'm dropping leads, they come at the top, but they still managing to get into that weed bed. I'm not getting on them quick enough. And I'm not really giving them as much stick as I probably should do. I mean, I've never really stuck fish that hard. So
these young uns tend to pull hard as well, don't they?
They are, that's the trouble. I mean, these fish that are 25 plus, they're fighting like 10 pounders used to back in my day. You know, they really do steam off. The bigger the fish, although they're young, you do get that, they are a little bit slower than your average 20, but 25 pluses, they tend to slow down a little bit. I wouldn't say that was 25 plus because it was going too fast. But some of the big fish do go fast, so I don't know. But if I don't see the fish, I tend to think they're all small, and I don't get so upset.
That's a good attitude.
But the only good thing about it as well is they're barber's hook, so there's no tearing of the mouth and all that malarkey. That's the only good thing about it, is they ain't hung up in weed on tackles. As you can see, I brought my tackle back.
That's it, like you say, when the weed's that thick.
Yeah, I wouldn't like to leave tackle in fish and with these weeding conditions. That wouldn't be good at all.
Well, it's like us, isn't it? I mean, we know that if we get a barbed hook in our hand, it's bloody hard to get out. But if we
well,
get
that's why I
barbless,
don't do it, mate. I don't know, because I'm not stupid enough to get a barbed hook in my hand.
You don't use hooks as sharp as mine.
No, I use forceps to get hooks out with. That's what they're on.
No, but I mean, even when I'm playing around with them, you know, when I first started sharpening my hooks, a couple of times in the first year I sunk a hook past the barb, and that just makes you realise, doesn't it? You know?
Yeah,
once that barb's in,
I've never done that.
You shouldn't be losing them, should you? But
I have stuck myself a couple of times, but to be fair, I mean, I've got all my rigs from Calder, so I don't even look. They're all sharp. I just tie them on. I'll just do a loop. That's it. That'll do. Put the bait on, and that'll do, right? But just recently, Damien's tied me up some rigs, and I've been copying what he's been doing and all that malarkey. And then I've been feeling the point a little bit because Julian Cundiff was the first one to bring it to my notice, right? Listen, back in the day, I'd have the same hook for months on end.
Really?
Leon Dawes, low water salmon hooks, they're the only hooks I ever used, other than when I was a kid. I can't even remember what they were. You can buy them in a packet, they could be like anybody's. But when Bruce Ashby started doing the low water salmon hooks, the solder blobs, before that I was using Leon Dawes. And I learnt the whipping knot, and I was putting it through the eye and then whipping it round. And of course when the air rig came along, it was brilliant because you just extend that length of line and make a little loop in it. And the only thing was, I found in the early days of doing that knot, that where the eye goes round and meets the shank, if that was a little bit on the sharp side, that would cut through your knot. So I used to do a little whipping knot, a 3-turn whipping knot first, and then do my 5-turn whipping knot, and then have the hair running off of that. And of course, when Bruce started doing the low water salmon hook solder blobbing, he'd done about 100 for me, which lasted me quite a while, and that was fantastic. But they were the only hooks I used back then. The low water salmon hooks and the Leon Dawes, you just get it sharpened. I've got a brilliant sharpener, I'll get it for you quickly.
I can remember Damien talking about the Leon Dawes back in the day as well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Bit of a cult hook, weren't they?
I've got this. This is for the camera mainly. I got this when I worked at in the late 80s, 90s, right? And that's got a little groove down there where you run your hook through. And that used to do my Leon Dawes and low water salmon hooks perfectly.
That's done well, isn't it?
But right, getting back to Julian Cundiff, when he came out to bulking about blunt hooks, my rods are up at my bivvy, but I've been catching loads of fish. But I haven't been changing my rigs that often. I've still got the rigs in there that I was using there. And he just looked at it, he said, and he picked two hooks up. He said, they're not very sharp, them, are they? I said, what do you mean? He said, you need to sharpen them up. I said, well, I'm getting fish on them, all right. And they were belting runs, they were faster than that. I mean, really, you were frightened to pick the rod up, they were so fast. I mean, they're proper young, fit fish. And so, when I come on here, I did take note of that, and I'm changing even hooks now. I mean, I had a 24 yesterday, and I'd only put this crank hook on yesterday on this. Well, it's a Ronnie rig, but I've made it a little bit different. It's a bit stupid. So I'm not going to show it because it's not. I don't think it's a very good one. All that's caught a fish. It's only caught one. And anyway, when Jordan saw it, he said, "I think you need to change that hook." I said, "Only put it on." He said, "Well, no, I think it's a bit blunt." And I thought, well, it might be. So I did change the new hook. But I mean, I've just cast that one back out. It's just been on the dirt and that. But I did feel it felt all right.
Right, I think we're talking about Redmire, weren't we?
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, well, I often hear about Redmire as like ghost stories and that, people getting spooked out. Did you ever have any?
No, I've never heard anything like that. I mean, and I fished there non-stop. I was the first man to ever fish Redmire in the winter.
Wow.
I was the first man to ever catch a winter 20 out of Redmire. I was the first man to catch a carp out there on floating crust, to my knowledge, which weren't a floating crust, it was actually floater. I'm not sure if it's trout pellet floater, the cakes we used to make back in the 80s,
yeah,
and 70s.
So you spent a lot of time up there then?
Yeah, basically when they stopped fishing it in October. So the minute they stopped fishing, I went and put my bivvy up in the Willow, and that's where it stayed all winter. And I just used to travel backwards and forwards on a weekend.
It's a bit of a trek for you as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, hour and a half.
Oh, was that all?
Yeah, that was all. We're doing 120 mile an hour, yeah. And that's going down country roads when you can see from. I used to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yeah, straight up to Gloucester. As soon as you hit Gloucester, you get straight down towards Hereford, like your country roads all the way. And you can see for miles and miles and miles what's coming in front of you. So you just hit the whole road, wham, and away you go. And then I'd leave. Unfortunately, it was unfortunate times because you wanted to stay there till the last minute, and you'd leave at sort of 12 o'clock. And of course, you'd get a caravan on that road, mate, and you were stuck there for hours. No one could overtake a caravan because the roads are so thin. And so I some good fish there. Best fish was the 31.8 that I poached, obviously.
And that was, what, the first time you'd taken the hair rig there, was it?
No, I didn't have the hair rig at
session.
Redmar.
Poaching session.
The poaching session was, yeah.
Yeah, so that was the first time.
Yeah, I mean, it worked straight away. and my mate Peter Springate got in there that year. And of course he smashed it to pieces with the air rig. I didn't have the air rig when I was fishing it in the syndicate, but I had it for the following year and they threw me out. So I couldn't go there and smash it to pieces.
So I mean, in them days, you know, fish like side hooking baits and that, you must have missed so many fish.
I've missed loads.
And it was all about the strike, I guess,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
I mean, I had feeded in the Willow there in January, February time, I think it was, and just down for the corning. And the fish was coming out of the weed from nowhere. There was still weeds there, but nowhere near as prolific as it is in here. And they were just coming out of the weed. I'll tell you what, it might not have been. No, it might have been it might have been earlier in the year. And anyway, we were coming out of the weed. I was on my own. That's why I thought it was that time of year, because I was on my own. Very rarely was I on my own in the summer. I was coming out of the weed. And, anyway, in the end, I got my rods. I was getting little bleeps, and I'm thinking they're line bites. And in the end, I got my rod stuck up like that, with the tips going into the silt. And in the end, I did hook one, but because by the time I got the rod there, the line was so tight on it that the fish just come off on the top of the water. Obviously, I didn't take into consideration I had to bring the rod out of 3 foot of water first, 2 foot of water. But so I was getting takes, but didn't realise it. Thought they were line bites. And when I fished it with a float, I was successful with a float.
I suppose you see in.
Yeah, you can see the float, can't you? Yeah. As soon as it moves, you whack it. Like I caught 2 fish off the dam there one day when I was packed up. My first rod out was the float rod, and I have a quick look round, and my last rod away was the float rod. And I just happened to be walking past the dam, thought, bubbles. I had a bait on the rod, I just flicked it in. Bang, 23 pounds, thank you.
What would that bait been then?
That was a strawberry protein.
Right.
Yeah. Don't ask me what the ingredients are. 6 ounces of casein, 4 ounces of cassiolan, I think it was. I can't remember. And wheat gluten and wheat germ, wheat gluten, all sorts of stuff. I mean, I ain't got a recipe book with me now, so I don't know.
And so, what, you're literally side hooking it or burying the hook, or like, you know, was much of the point?
It was just side hooking then.
Was much of the point available?
No,
or
no.
Going through the bait on the strike.
We weren't using it as the type of books we were using today. I doubt if the books are even sharp like they are today. They're just side hooking them. I mean, you got that idea basically from people like Ushy and that were using, and the H were using sweet corn and stuff like that. And then people started side hooking hard boilies. I remember going to Darren with, I think Pete Springate was with us, Johnny Perkins, and Johnny Perkins made us the bait. And these are when you put the hooks in, and the baits were as big as, well, I'll tell you what, if you can see that knob on there, as big as that, right? Just to show you it all.
Yeah.
And it was a little bit fatter than the baits that we're using today, right? A bit fatter than 18 mil. And I'll tell you what, you had to push your hook right inside it. Anyway, back at Darren in the day, they used to fish their rods high. So I thought I'd do the same. Anyway, I got this little bleep, 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 I whacked it. And I'm playing this fish in, it come right the way in. And I ain't kidding, mate, I hooked it at 50 or 60 yards. And by the time I got it in, it went, it just spat the bait out. I didn't even look at it. It's just held on to the bait.
So what was the reason for the rod so high? Just
so they could strike the switches.
Right.
What
so
they thought were line bites.
and...
We didn't know then, obviously, but obviously when the hair rig come out, we realised them twitches were really takes. All them little bites you get, mate, I mean, even then, when you hit them straight away, you were lucky, because basically that little lift you get was normally the fish hitting the deck or floating in the air.
So the difference was incredible, I imagine.
Massive difference to carp fishing, massive difference.
Because they're just hooking themselves and...
I mean, look, these rigs that we've got today, I mean, there are differences, but they're not that big a difference. I mean, that rig there that I've just lost that fish on, that's the naked chod rig. That's totally different than what it was back in my day. But this middle rod, that's the same sort of setup that I use in my day. It's just it's Calder's made it, and it's a little bit more subtle.
That was a standard carp rig.
Yeah, and I've caught carp on that. I've caught carp on all 3 rods here in this swim. It's just a little bit more subtler. You know, it's got a nice little bit of plastic. It's a normal hair rig. I forget what it's called now. I'll get the thing in a minute. It's a normal hair rig, but it's a little more subtle than mine. It's got a bit of tubing that's bent one way or the other way. So then the line comes off like it's about that long.
Yeah.
And it's just neat. And also it's easy to get the baiting noodle through with my eyes as well, to get the bait in.
Do you think like some of the, from what it seems to me, it looks like a lot of the original rigs were designed to hook them as they were ejecting the bait, whereas these days it seems to be like they're more designed to hook them as they mouth the bait?
Yeah, I'd say that was probably true, yeah. I mean, they were used on rejection without a doubt. And that's why in the very early days, most of the fish that we were hooking were hooked a good inch inside the mouth. One hooks that I'm dropping, fish that I'm dropping here, if I drop them quickly, they're not hooked far enough inside the mouth. But some of the ones I'm catching, they're hooked ½ inch inside the mouth, which I'm pleased about, because that means they are sucking it proper up. But these fish on here, they shouldn't be that well educated. I mean, we're talking about fish that have been around for a few years that are going and then flapping it with their pectorals now, which I've seen and stories of old. I mean, Robin Dix was telling me a fish he watched last year actually picked a bait up with a 3-ounce lead on it, and he saw the lead bounce, and the fish just spun around and the hook was out. And I thought, wow.
It's amazing, isn't it, how they can use the weight to eject a hook that's in their mouth. It's, you know, it kind of doesn't make sense really, does it, if you try to do it with your hand?
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not going to try that, mate. No.
No chance. Cool. All right. Well, yeah, that was good. Interesting few little bits there. Obviously, there's loads more to cover, but I think for now, do you reckon it's worth me chucking a couple of rods out?
Yeah, why not?
I've seen a bit of bubbling, the odd fish roll up there. So
fish are moving.
Stick a couple out, and
stick a couple out,
you can have some munch or whatever you want to do, and
well, I'm not going to
give you a little break.
I'm going to have lunch later, because I had a crap dinner last night. So tonight, I'm going to treat myself. I'm going to go down to the curry house, and I'm going to get myself a nice curry. I haven't had one since last November.
Fair play.
So
that sounds like a treat. Unfortunately, I'm suffering a bit at the moment, so I don't think I can have a curry, but
well,
I'll look after my gallbladder.
Right
Pizza?
Yeah.
Oh, that's even worse, mate.
Oh, right.
I'm on the juice diet.
Okay, well, there's plenty of juice. I've got loads of juice
Juice
there.
and fruit.
I've got loads. By surprise, this one, Joe.
That's the one that you've been waiting to go, isn't it? That middle rod.
Yep, it's the one I got all day. It's the one I thought was going to go first.
Thank you,
Looks all right to me. Just stay out of that weed, my kiddo. He's got his head in there a little bit. A little bit of gentle pressure here should just lift him out a bit. Come on, my boy. Whoa, look at that weed coming up there. All right, mate, not long now. Nearly there. Oh, you've seen it, haven't you? You naughty fella. Oh, it's a lovely fish. Wow, was I let him have a little bit of head? Come on, my fella. Oh. Come on, mate. Oh, come on. Up. Come on. Come on, mate. All right, come on. Come on, mate. Struggling. Come on. Yeah. Do you know what? I'm struggling to lift the bleeding net here.
Oh, it's over that line.
Right.
There you go.
I'll tell you what, that ain't a bad fish, that. That ain't a bad fish at all. Now we'll see. Let's see what you got. Well, I'll tell you what we won't, because I haven't turned it on. 31.9, 31.10. Right, £6 up with here.
25.10.
25.10, right. Okay.
Lovely linear that one, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, they scream away from me like crazy, do they? Hey. Hey, there you go. Now, for those of you who've been watching me before, you'll notice my rods are at a different angle now. Well, I used to fish like this at Savay back in the day. Mainly because I used to like watching the tips going down. But I've changed them now because Jordan, one of the bailiffs here, one of the head bailiffs, because I've been losing a few fish in the weed, and they're getting in the weed for, I've tightened my clutches up as well, by the way. So they tight, not like the bait runner used to be, like it runs off. This now it's got to be really dead tight. I learnt that off Rob Burgess when I asked him how he was fishing, because his indicators were a bit low, so I'm just fishing off the clutch dead tight. So I took that little bit of inspiration from him, and so I'm doing virtually the same, but with rods at a different angle. Because once I get in the weed, the weed is so dense, it is virtually game over. It's more luck than judge than skill to get them out. And I mean, I'll be dead honest with you now. I used to catch all my big fish on £6 hook link with £8 mainline. I'd be at a dead loss here fishing that kind of tackle right now. I'm fishing £16 line, and that I'm worried about even that. I'm 100% I ain't going to break on it, but it is a bit worrying when they're fighting so hard.
Now, I noticed on one of the podcasts you said you never let anyone net your fish, is that right?
Yeah, normally, but I have struggled, as you've just seen now, a little bit with that net, although I can do it myself still. But I've had a fish weeded up there yesterday, and Scott had to come out, and they both went out and waded, Scott and Jordan. And he said, look, it's best if I take the net out and you keep the pressure on. And I thought, all right, we'll do it. So we're doing it that way. But normally, any circumstances other than that, I mean, I would net them myself. If I can get them in to me close enough, obviously I can't get out there in that deep water. But they had the big chest waders on, so they could go out. And the fish was terribly weedy. It's either that or lose it. So we got it in. But normally, yeah, I net my own fish normally.
Like a nice spreader bait, don't you?
Yes. Don't like them all in one spot like some of the top anglers do today, but they tend to catch more fish than I do. And you see the seagulls there? You can tell when they've got one because they fly off. If they're still hovering about, they ain't got none.
unfortunately there was no sunset and no sunrise. This obviously is a bit boring for the filming, isn't it? You don't get any transition in between. But the evening certainly wasn't boring. Had a very entertaining evening listening to a load of Ritchie stories, most of which we wouldn't be able to put on camera anyway. Yeah, highly entertaining, and yeah, really interesting too. So I actually wound my rods in last night. I'm a little bit embarrassed to say, because I had 4 nights at a festival over the weekend and I'm still catching up on sleep. And I knew that today was going to be a busy day as well, and the night before I didn't get much sleep because I knew I was going to be up early. So yeah, I'm a bit ashamed to say I wound in. I don't know if Ritchie's had anything. He said he'd give me a shout if he did, so I presume he hasn't. But I see he looks like he's up now. But yeah, like I said, a really great evening, and yeah, so good to listen to Ritchie's stories and hear how passionate he is about his fishing. Like I say, you know, for 68 years old and still to be out doing it like he is, hats off to him. You know, he's out fishing all winter long in every kind of condition he could have thrown at him. So yeah, impressive stuff. So yeah, we've got another day ahead of us today. I'm gonna pick his brains on some of his sort of key target fish, if you like, you know, a couple of his favourite stories, and then yeah, see what else he manages to pull out of the bag. Right, I need some more coffee because, as you can see, still very bleary-eyed and tired. So yeah, I need to sharpen my game up. Well, Richie, obviously chatting to you over the last 24 hours, it's pretty clear that you've got about 5 lifetimes worth of stories in you, both about fishing and life itself. So I'm massively looking forward to reading your book. That's going to go on the priority list. Obviously, yeah, there's too many stories for this feature, but fingers crossed we can get out again in the future and pick your brain some more. But there's one shot of you that really stands out, and you know, I've heard some of the story and it's a good one. So that is the Royal Park. So when did you start fishing on there? And yeah, tell us the story if you can, mate.
Right, I was working at Hounslow Angler at the time, and a mate of mine I'd known for years, he's walked in one day and showed me this 40-pounder. I said, where'd you catch that? Joe Kavanagh's his name. I said, where'd you catch that, Joe? He said, I can't tell you that, mate. I said, well, how'd you catch it then? He said, I just walked around, I saw it, I cast a lump of luncheon meat at it and bang, straight away. I thought, oh, that's going to be easy pickings for me, let me get there. So he wouldn't let me, for a couple of 3 weeks gone by, and come on, Joe, he used to come in quite regular. Come on, Joe, where is it, mate? You've caught it, mate, you know. So next time he came in with a photograph of it again. He said, oh, that's the second time. I said, oh, Joe, leave it out. So I said, you've got to tell me now, Richmond Park. Are you kidding me? I take my dog round Pen Ponds. Are you telling me you call it out of Pen Ponds? I said, yeah, honest. Right, so I goes over there for a recce. Right, now, apparently I'm on film, which someone has told me about, but I'm a bit cheeky when I want to be looking for something. There's 2 rules on here that I will not break. Well, I don't break none of the rules, but the 2 rules I will not break are getting in the lake and climbing up trees, because Danny Fairbrass has told me I mustn't do that, otherwise I'm going to lose everything, so I don't do it. And I don't break any other rules that goes anyway. Right, so, he's not allowed to swim. So I went over there with my wife at the time and kids, and my little pup Sabi, the dog, with a lilo. So basically the excuse was, while I'm out with my lilo, I had the dog with me, and if anyone said anything, oh, you're not allowed to swim, I said, I'm just coming to rescue my dog, mate. And every now and again I just fall off the lilo, have a little search around down the bottom of the lake, blah, 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 that's good, right, let's go another spot, blah, 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 blah. So that's how I done the instigation. So basically I thought, well, I'm going to start fishing it. So I started fishing in the open water, because it's got sanctuaries all around it where you're not allowed to go, but there's a lot of open water as well. So I went and bought a permit, and basically on all park waters it states on there no night fishing. Well, on the Richmond Park permit it said nothing about night fishing. Well, I can night fish it then. So I went over there. I've got like an SAS bag that was given me a long time ago, and it's about that high off the ground, and it's like a tunnel, and you just get in it, like it's got a mesh and everything, and it's got a hoop at one end, a hoop at the other, and it's coming towards the other, and I had a lilo in it, and pumped that up, and I'm blowing it. Anyway, the first night I'm there, 2 rods. It's dark. It's about September, October time. It's dark. Dog's down across my chest. Also, well, what's that? So I've unzipped my fly thing. Looked, oh, there's a Land Rover coming along. And all of a sudden, the door opens. I sit up. This little fella gets out. So I just stay sat there. He says, "You're not allowed to fish here at night, mate." I said, "They don't say that." And I said, "No, we're not on my permit." I said, "Listen, do yourself a favour. There's loads of kids over there, obviously on drugs. They're about 150, 200 yards away, and they're chasing deer about. Go and chase them. I'm doing nothing but drowning worms here." So I said, "Let pack up." I said, "Do yourself a favour, mate. Get in your motor and go away." So he did. So anyway, I just laid myself back down, like. And you can hear all these kids in the background. They were quite a long way away. So I just laid back down. And all of a sudden, like, it's a Land Rover again. Oh, no, this time I got out. Anyway, he got out. I said, "I told you, you got to pack up." I said, and as I was going to say, oh, I better not say, as I was going to say something, this massive fella started getting out the other side. Big Irish bloke, big, and I mean big. He said, "All right, but Jesus, now you'll have to pack up, so you will. Sorry about the accent, I can't do it." So I said, "All right, fair enough." I said, "Well, how am I going to get home?" He said, "We'll take you." Right, so basically the Irishman come down to pick one of the rods. I said, "Right, whatever you do, don't touch my gear. I'll sort it all out, put it in the motor, and then you can drop me off at the house." I had my van parked a little way down the road from where I actually got in. And so basically, they took me to just round the corner from where I lived, didn't give me a proper address. So me being a bit cute at the time, I thought, right, shaved up, dressed up, suit and tie, into their police station. So right, I'm teaching junior kids. I need to know all about Richmond Park, about what you can do here and what you can't do, how the deer feed, how the fish move, but whatever, you know, I want all the documents. John Sill was our, the Carp Society's barrister. So I rang John Sill up. I said, "Right, I've just been thrown off of Richmond Park, and there's nothing about it on the permit." He said, "Right, send me all the details, we'll sue them." Well, I sent him the details. And then in the meantime, I thought, well, I ain't having this, I'm going to go and fish there. I'll go and make hides. So the first place I went is where Joe caught it from. And there was fern there, but I got some fern from the other side and made it a bit higher so I could sort of, I had to stay on my knees. And basically, Joe's brother was coming over every night and throwing me fresh fern. So I stayed there for a couple of days. I think I was 3 days. I was only fishing there 3 days a week. And I moved to another swim, which had a great big oak there. You couldn't stand up in the daytime, you could only be on your knees all the time. And I stayed there for a couple of days, and the presentation was so good there. There was a wall, like that, this great big oak laid along that way. So I was, along that way. Let's get it right, along that way. And there was a wall that ran out, and that separated 2 lakes. So I basically crawled out on this wall, put my bait down by hand, right? Because I could reach it down to my shoulder, and then tethered the bait out, put the lead against the wall, fluffed silt over. I said, "No way, a fisherman's going to notice that. Plus, these fish ain't really being fished for. What am I doing?" So anyway, that's what I done. Never caught it there either. So basically, I moved hides again. I went into right into another sanctuary park, but you could see that it had been fished before at some point, because it was well back from the lake. So I thought, well, I can't be seen in there. So I fished there for a couple of times. And I went for a pee one afternoon, which is about 10 yards away from the actual rods. And I heard a bleep, and I come back quickly, and the rod was, so I'm into something, but it wheeled me up, and then it come off. So I don't know what that was. I'd caught an 18-pound common out of there. In the daytime, I'd fish anywhere on the lake. And one particular day, when I caught the 18, I was fishing on near the sanctuary, and this geezer come along with 5 dogs off the lead, and I'm sitting there with my staff, and all of a sudden I've got hold of her because these dogs are running everywhere like lunatics. I said, "Who owns these dogs?" Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, let's try to get him under control. Anyway, I said, "Get these dogs away, mate, I'll let her go." Anyway, he got control of his dogs in the end, but then he went straight to the old bill. So my mate who was with me, he said, "Look, the old bill were coming round." I thought, I was going to take her up into the wood. There's a bit of a wooded area behind us. I said, "You sit there." Anyway, the coppers come down talking to him and said, "Well, where's the pit bull?" So I stood up. I said, "It ain't no pit bull, mate. It's a Staffordshire Bull Terrier. I've come out from behind the tree." I said, "Staffordshire Bull Terrier, mate." I said, "Not only that, you see the geezer you've got in the car with the 5 dogs that's not under control?" I said, "This is my dog. Watch this." So I walked about 10 yards away. I said, "Wait." Walked about 10 yards away. I went, "Here." And the dog came over and sat down right beside me. I said, "That's control. Wait." And then I walked another 10 yards. "Here. That's controlling dogs. If he can get out of the car and do the same with any of his dogs, then you can take my dog away. That is a Staffordshire Bull Terrier." Anyway, he couldn't do it anyway. The police said, "Right, fair enough, mate. It's not a pit bull," and left me to it. So that was the first altercation I had there. Well, yeah, the only altercation I had. And so, which didn't end up to much. So then, where I caught this 18-pound common from, I thought, right, that looks like a good area there. So then I decided, now the old bill were looking for me all the time. There's no way I can keep fishing in open. So I decided I'll make a hide. So I made a hide in these rhododendrons, and I could fish the same spot where I caught the 18-pound common from. And basically what I'd done, I made the hide. I could fish, the hide consisted of a tunnel of the rhododendrons were all around. I cut a big bivvy size out of there. Didn't realise there was a fence running all the way along it. I had to go back and cut that down, then bend that round the tree. And then where I had to get to the swim was about 20 feet of going underneath brambles. You know the way brambles grow over itself, it's like a tunnel. So I had to get all my gear through there like that, which I've done. Got it all set up, blah, blah, blah. And I was only fishing there 3 nights a week, but I was leaving my gear there because no one knew it was there. It was so well hidden that a copper on horseback come past me no further away than this camera and didn't know I was there. I was only there, he didn't know I was there. And the first night I set it all up, realising the fence was out, I go home and get an axe, cut all through the bars, bent it all around. And then later that night I went round with, I had a TV there as well, I had a radio, I had a light. And so I put everything on, walked around the lake with binoculars, and I couldn't see a single thing. I thought, safe. So then commenced fishing. And now in the daytime, I'd come out just before dawn. Right, park my van up outside the park. I had a push bike, which I took to the lake, threw that in the lake at night, just on the evening, crawled into my swim, come out at dawn, got the back with a flask of tea that I made in my bivvy, come out, got my bike out of the lake, stood up against the bush and started fishing. But I was fishing exactly the same spot from where I was fishing, right? So I baited up during the day, not much at night, baiting up plenty in the day. And so this went on for, I think I started in the October. I didn't fish through the really cold months, but my gear was safe there, no one knew I was there. Except for my mate who didn't fish anyway, because he's the one that come back and helped me cut the fence down. So anyway, what happened after that? Yeah. So basically, yeah, I sent all the gear off to John Seal, and then this geezer was coming around in his Land Rover every day. They knew I was on the lake, but they didn't know where, because they never saw me at any time. And even during the day, when I was sitting there during the day, they didn't know who I was. And so basically, one day, I've come out, one morning, I thought, where's my bike? And the night before, I must have thrown it in, but not looked back and seen the handlebars must have been stuck out of the water. And when the ranger or old Bill come round the next day, see the bike there and took it. So I didn't have a bike anymore. Anyway, on March the 14th, I'm out. And there was a picture of me somewhere with me sitting there with a cup of tea. And lo and behold, the old Bill stands up beside me. Do you know Ritchie Mcdonald? I said, no, mate, no. He said, well, he's here somewhere, we know he is. I said, well, I haven't seen anybody, Matt, and I've been here all day. I've been here all day, I ain't seen anybody. Anyway, we're sitting away, chatting away. Can you drop my tea, my flowers or something? He said, no. And we were chatting on quite well. And then all of a sudden, like, I'm away and boom. Anyway, as I've netted, he's gone, wow! Oh, I didn't realise it was that big in here. Like, I said, well, that's what I'm here for. Bush, got it in, wow. That's the one. Weighed it up, it was £40 or 41 something, I can't remember exactly, but it was 40 or 41. Now, I don't even know Chris Ball, but Chris Ball is one of the most, I don't know how to describe it. He's so, he's all on there, everything's lovely, blah, 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 so loud, but nice. So, Chris, could you come and take these photos, mate, Chris? Oh, he's done it, yeah. I don't know how you pronounce the word for him. It's so excitable. And so he says, have you caught it? And I said, yeah. I said, but look, listen, I've got the old Bill here beside me. Whatever you do, don't mention my name when you come down. So anyway, I've got this wooded area behind me, and the old Bill's still there. And we're talking away like, I'm just waiting for your mate to come down, just anything conversation. And all of a sudden, he must have done 1,000 miles an hour to get here that quick. And all of a sudden, well done, Ritchie, mate. Oh, no. And all of a sudden, the old Bill, he's either not heard him or he didn't care. He's just let him get on with the photographing and that. And he was commenting on how nice the fish was and, and all that malarkey. And then the old Bill left. But the hardest bit, which I forgot to mention, I'm sure his name was William. He used to come and see me every day after school and in the evenings. And it'd be getting dark by the time he would leave. And I was desperately hoping he would come because I've got to get all my gear out of there. And where I was fishing, I can't just walk out with loads of gear on my back. I've got to make sure there ain't no one about. Anyway, it snowed on that March the 15th. I packed all my gear down, got it through all the brambles, and basically I'm waiting for William to turn up. And of course he did. And thank God for that, otherwise it would have been a nightmare getting out. I'd have had to wait till dark. And that means I'd have had to take it from there right out to when my van's parked on the road. I managed to get it, with his help, get it out of the sanctuary up to the car park and got my wife to come up in her car and pick the gear up. And then I walked back and got the van and went home. And that was that, mate. End of the stay.
Mega story.
And because I caught the fish, I rang John Seal up. I said, don't worry about it, mate. I've caught the fish now. Don't let them get away with it. They never caught me. So it was a good ending all round.
I wonder if William's fishing.
Well, if you are William, give us a ring, mate. You can contact me through Joe, through his filming, or you can contact me through Calder, or through Embryo, or, yeah, that's it. Any of them people. Or most fishing tackle shops know where I am these days, so any fishing tackle shop you use, I do. And if you are fishing, I hope you're catching some big fish, mate. Thanks for your help at the time. Thanks, Joe. Nice one.
Well, that was a lovely drop of lunch, wasn't it, mate?
Well, it's very nice. I had the Norton cheeseburger, which is more filling than any burger I've ever had before, and chips. He does his own chips up there. They're done with salt and pepper, which I've never had before, and they're really nice. So that over with.
Yeah.
What do you reckon so far?
Yeah, my jacket potato done the job nicely. No, really impressed with the place and the facilities. Obviously, the fish are mega clean. You've had an exceptional session. I've listened to some amazing stories. So yeah, no, I couldn't be happier with how this little trip's gone, to be honest.
Me too. I really enjoyed myself the last couple of days. It's been really nice. Plus the fish have come on song. I've been lucky to catch fish and lose fish at the same time. So it's all been good in that respect. And as you said, these lakes are well looked after. I'm well looked after. Ben calls this my retirement home. And to be fair, mate, I don't have to do very much. All this stuff, if I want to move, Ben just goes, right, Richie's moving, can't help him.
Who swim?
And they all just come down and muck in. Like, and basically, if I wanted to, I could just stand there and say, all right, lads, just over there. I'll put the rods up, you do everything else. But I'm not like that. I do as much as I can.
Yeah, well, you know, from what you've said, you know, you've grafted all your life, haven't you?
Yeah, back in the day, yeah, I've grafted until I broke my foot, and that stopped me working full time. And I've been working since I've been 7 years of age.
Like you say, even when you were drinking, you were still working.
Yeah, when I was alcoholic, I was still not drinking at work, but I was drinking every night, and then every Saturday and Sunday.
Now, like, I did mention it to you before, but with this show, you know, we don't just cover fishing stuff. We like to cover a bit of sort of real life stuff too. And I think, you know, a lot of people will find your story so inspiring. I know it's something you don't really like to talk about that much, but if, you know, would you be able to offer any advice for anyone who's kind of finds themselves in that boat or thinks they might end up down that road?
Yeah, I mean, we ain't got a lot of time here, but in our next sessions, which we're going to do some more, I will go into detail on how I've spent my last 30 years in a very deep depression hole. I'm out of it now. Don't get me wrong here, I still get depressed. On a day like today, it's not a depression day, it's a good day.
We've had a good time.
We've had a good couple of good days. The fish have been responsive. I've been lucky and unlucky, both things at the same time. But I will go into depth on how you feel as an alcoholic and how you hate everything and everything you think hates you. It's too much to go into on this series, but when we come and meet again, which hopefully won't be too long in the future, because Ben runs my Instagram page. I don't know how to use these phones and technology and all that, it's well above me. And I've had some nice comments on there because I have spoke about it on my Caller podcast a few times at the time, and I didn't go in great depth there either. But I will want to go into depth with, basically to help other people that have got the same thing as I've had. And it ain't easy to get out. I've had it for 30 years. And well, I won't go into why it started and how it started right now because I ain't got enough time. But I will go into it in great detail in the future to help people like myself that needed help but didn't know how to get it. And when I did reach out, it was on the way, but I basically, the virus broke out. I didn't go where I was supposed to go because it was full of people, loads of people, and I didn't want to be getting caught with this virus. And so I didn't take that advice at that time. But when I got over, well, I stopped drinking, and I got over it, and when Simon Artok came round and said, how come he's not drinking? I said, I'm not drinking since December. He said, really? Then he took me out to Hindles, the British Carp Study Group, and said, what do you think? I said, this is where I'm going to start. And of course, Damien Clark came in. I've known Damien since he was a young man. He came round the house. He said, we need to get him some fishing tackle. And here I am. And basically, in my Instagram page, some people have replied to saying they used to be alcoholic, thanks to my inspiration, that they've now recovered.
Amazing.
And some people have been a lot worse off than me. I'm lucky, I'm reasonably healthy. It's only my foot that lets me down. It's been set wrong. It's never going to be right. And so my walking about is not as good as it used to be. I can't climb trees anyway. So, but I've got a ladder with me.
I was going to say, what's that ladder doing?
Well, Danny said the two rules I mustn't break, and that's no swimming and no climbing trees. So I've got the ladder. Danny's seen the ladder. I know I'm okay with that.
Bit safer, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And so basically,
how many trees are you falling out of over here?
Oh, God, how old am I? I'm 68, and I reckon I've fallen out of more trees than I've climbed. How about that? I'm worked out without people. I've climbed more trees. I've fell out of more trees than I've climbed. You can work that one out and get back to me. And here's another one for you. When is a glass half full or half empty? See if you can come back to Joe on that with an answer. When is a glass half full or when is it half empty? There is an answer. See if you know it.
There you go. Nice little riddle to end the day with.
It's been a pleasure,
awesome.
Mate.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Richie.
you, mate. Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to our next trip.
So am I, because it was very enjoyable, you know, and we'll get things going a little bit better next time because I think we'll start on my illness.
Well, you know who I am now as well.
Absolutely, so I know how to get inside your head, which is some place you don't want me to be.
Excellent. Okay, mate. Well, yeah, well done. Thanks again. And,
Well, absolutely,
look forward to
mate.
seeing you again soon.
And thanks for watching, people.
Brilliant.
Lovely, thanks, Joe.
Carping Calamities. You know, when I think of all the things that have happened to me that have been like disastrous, 90% of them are all on the fishing boat. Like my actual fishing itself, I can't think. I mean, I've had a few funny ones where like a swan's gone through and all 3 of my rods have just been wiped straight into the lake, things like that. But I've got them back. Like I've had pretty bad one. Was I was on my fishing boat with a mate. It'd been a long day. I'd not caught. I'd probably done 3-4 nights for nothing leading up to this. So I was already a little bit peed off. Like I'd put loads of time in. And we were driving down the river. My mate was driving. I was on top of the boat. I had the rods leaning on the boat, so the top eye was probably just sticking over. And I was looking under a tree. I said to him, just take me near that tree. He went straight into it. Tree branches through all 3 of my scopes with the reels. Hello, that's a liner. Threw all 3 of my rods in the river, sunk to the bottom, and we spent 2 hours with the anchor trying to get these rods back. Eventually got them back. That night they were robbed off the boat anyway. So things like that. Also my engine breaking, I've had to buy new engines for the boat. Another good story on the boat, which was not fun at the time, is my first trip back for I think about 8 months. The boat had been, I'd had a fine for not using it for so long because you're supposed to move it every 2 weeks, and I just left it over the winter. Everything was robbed. I had my mate's bivvy, that got robbed. They nicked all my tools out of there that I used for DIY, and my engine was knackered. So I come back to this boat, absolute disaster. Just about managed to get the engine going, and there was a lock at the end of a stretch. I was with my mate, we were supposed to have this nice chilled day on the river, driving down, come up to this lock, and me being stupid, I've gone for a total donut, do a 360 to go back the other way. And what I didn't notice was this big steel girder sticking out the side of the canal. I've noticed right at the last minute, oh, damn it, damn it, damn it. I don't know if you've seen the film Grease Lightning, where the cars come together and he's got a big spike and he rips the side of the car off, but that's what's happened. I've turned and it's gone and just ripped a big gaping hole out the side of the fiberglass that long in this boat that I've had for like less than a year. So it's still there now. Luckily it was above water level, but it's just this big strip, this big hole through the side of my boat. So I've had plenty of things like that that have gone wrong, most of which are all on the boat, because boats are just a recipe for disaster. But yeah, in general, not too unlucky when it comes to fishing, so hopefully I can keep like that.
Top of the morning to you. Well, over the last sort of couple of months, I've been quite busy with filming and editing and life in general, and I haven't actually been out doing my own fishing. Well, very little of it anyway, but I've managed to get a couple of nights in, so I've come down to my little water that I joined in the winter. Remember, I'd done a few trips up here in the autumn and a couple in the spring. Well, I hadn't actually seen the place in the summer, and so yeah, I wanted to get down and have a little go. And as you can see, it's in its full glory at the moment. Looks absolutely stunning. It's really quite a shallow lake, and it's absolutely covered in weed. Very few little spots. The spots that there are kind of quite small, little polished off gravel areas, so you tend to have to use a boat to get good presentation. In fact, I think you'd be stuffed without a boat on here, or it would make life very hard anyway. So yeah, I got down last night, just sort of got set up as the sun was setting really, but managed to get my rigs in place nicely. And yeah, last night I caught a orange and white thing, probably only about £10. That was about 12:30, I think. And then at about 3 o'clock I had a tench, unfortunately, but I didn't put those rods back out with the boat at night. I just left them leaning up against the bushes, and I've just put them out now. Probably should have put them back out really, but I thought, well, you know, I've got another rod out there, didn't want to make the disturbance, but yeah, just got them out just on first light. So hopefully there'll be a chance in the next couple of hours or two. Some real cracking fish in here, so yeah, it'd be nice to meet a few more of them. Well, not long after I'd done that piece to camera this morning, I had a bite on the right hand rod, fishing locked up, bent into it, it sort of flapped on the surface and the hook pulled. So that was a little bit unfortunate. I got it back out there and about an hour later, went again, and this time it was this mega little creature. Lovely dark one, got a little bit of a sort of twist in him. Yeah, good condition. Lovely mouth, as they all tend to be in here. And he's not particularly happy, so I'm sure he wants to be back in his watery home. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get you home, buddy. Nice to meet you. Now, I've been on a bit more of a health kick lately, and just thought I'd share this little top tip for you. Pot of Greek yoghurt, strawberries, blueberries and banana. Just eat a bit of the yoghurt and then chop them up. Well, chop the strawberries and the bananas up, chuck the blueberries in. Hey presto, nice healthy bit of munch. Oh, tasty as well. Can't beat blueberries and strawberries at this time of year, can you? Right, now we've got that done, should we smash the bacon on you? Right, well, I spent most of the day in that other swim, but to be honest with you, I think where it's such a small lake, spots on here can really die off really quickly. And also, that sort of area is sort of known for doing a lot of the smaller fish, but not so many of the bigger fish. So anyway, today I've been baiting up a little swim, just around the corner from where I was fishing, trickling bait in there all day long, and it's been going all day long, and I've been going down seeing the odd good fish in there. So I thought, right, although I've got a chance of a bite in this swim tonight, I'm going to move to there. So I've just got 2 rods ready to go. There's literally fish feeding down there as I speak. There's this common with a funny tail which I caught in the winter last year. I think it's one of the first ones I had out of it. And another mirror better fish as well. So yeah, I think I've made the right decision. I'm not going to set up my bivvy here because I'll be right on top of them. They're literally like 2-3 foot from the bank. So I can have my bivvy about 15 yards along there. So yeah, I'm just going to lower 2 little funnel web bags into place now. The rig I'm using is a little bit different to what I'd normally use. Reason for that is because of the small fish in here. There's so many roach in here. They're constantly attacking whatever you put in. Even if they can't eat it, they're just sucking it and swimming off with it. So the shorter, softer rigs that I normally use are just going to end up getting trashed in no time. So I'm using a stiffer version. Yeah, I'll show you that in the morning. For now, I need to get these rods out. Well, Guten Morgen. Fairly quiet night. I did have one at 2:30, I think, the old Chinese dentist. Yeah, it's only a small common. Scrapped like mad, to be honest. I thought it was one of the big ones because it sounded like it was really long and it was looking like it was really long, but it was probably about 15, 16 pounds, something like that. Lovely condition. But yeah, obviously I just put that back. Didn't want to be getting the light out and making loads of disturbance because obviously it's quite an intimate little water. But I reckon I'm definitely getting cleaned out down here. Well, I know I am. It's not the roach that have taken away all the tigers. They do move them about a bit, but no, I'm definitely getting cleared out here. So I've just changed one of the rods over, taken the lead core off, put a fluorocarbon leader on there, and put one of my normal, shorter, softer braided hook links on, just see if that makes a difference, because I'm sure they must be getting away with it, whether they're mouthing the bait and not getting hooked or just aware of it, you know. I'm not a massive fan of lead core because I think it stands out so much, but obviously there are occasions where it's needed just for that extra toughness down the end. But yeah, this margin here, they tend to come in really close. Must visit this snag to the left here and come from these reeds and all this weed cover on the right. I've just got another little word just in the margins, just down just the other side of the bridge there. And that looks like it hasn't been touched at all. So they're obviously not using that route at the moment. So otherwise I'm sure they would have eaten them. But yeah, looks good for another opportunity, I reckon. It must still be coming in here. Hopefully the rig change will make the difference, but I'll keep you posted either way. Right, well, it was a little bit quiet around there. I hadn't seen anything this morning, so I went for a little wander, and this little back bay here, the back channel, there was 3 or 4 real good fish milling about, the sort of A-team if you like. So I thought, well, I'll get my drone out and get some shots of them just swimming around, just because they look nice, don't they? So I've done that and realised there was probably about 10 fish or so up this channel, and like most of the big ones by the looks of it. Although it's a boiling hot day, very calm, you know, I reckon there's still a chance because it's not very deep, you know, so it's only like, well, my baits are probably in about 2.5, 3 foot of water. So I think, you know, if they're swimming around there, then they can see it that much more easily, and they might be a little bit more inclined to drop down and have a little investigation in the nation. So yeah, I've got one on a little margin spot just to the right here, and one on a little round clear spot right next to a weed bed just to the left. Just drop them down, tiny little funnel web bags, bit of salt, bit of demerara, sugar, and then a few salted peanuts. But yeah, not much, just enough for a bite. Hopefully we can tempt one of them into having one. But they do look like they're in that mood for just sitting around in the sunshine, not doing much, but we'll give it a go, won't we? Oh, wow, took a little while to be honest with you. I didn't think it was going to happen because they've just been cruising around, doing very little or sitting under the weed out of the sun. But yeah, we've got a lovely little mirror on here, absolute cracker. Single tiger, come on the stiffer rig, that one. Put one on the stiffer rig and one on the softer one. Just to see if it would make any difference really, but yeah, literally a tiny little bag, a few salted peanuts, a little bit of sugar, demerara, natural cane sugar, and a bit of sea salt. Just flicked out to a little clear spot next to a weed bed out there. God, he wants to get into this margin. There's a snag down there. Don't get in there, mate. Whoa, God, he's having it now, isn't he? Get out of there. Right, come on. Whoa, get out of there. You're not going in there. Come on. God, it's got some power, this one. Whoa, God, get out. He knows there's a stick under there. Absolutely having it. Go on, son. Right, don't go too mad because we want to get you in this net. Literally, like, the whole A-team has been up here, but unfortunately it's not one of them. I'm still happy though. Looks mega in that clear water, twisting and turning, trying to get in the weed. Come on, mate. Right. Let's be having you. There we go. That's got to be in, surely. Yes, lovely jubbly. Happy days. Buzzing. Well, it's boiling hot today, so we don't want to keep this out too long, but look at that for an absolute peach. Lovely starburst scales and swirly lines, cool shape, lovely colour, mega mouth. Yeah, that's what it's all about, isn't it? Happy blooming days. Awesome. Right, we're going to get you back, mate, because it's super hot. Well, you'll have to excuse the glare off of my legs. It's the old Scottish blood in me, innit? Two-tone, look, my arms have tanned, my legs are as white as milk bottles. Look at that for a carp. Yeehaw. Now, I know I don't often go into too much technical stuff on the show, just because there's so much technical stuff on YouTube already, isn't there? But as I'm using something different to what I normally use, and I get a lot of people message to say, oh, you know, can you go into a bit more detail with your rigs? I thought I'd show you the one that I've been using this session and the reason why I've been using it. So obviously, anyone who watches the show regularly will know I like to use my little solid bags. I think those tiny little short hook links just really, you know, are really difficult for the fish to deal with, and yeah, they've just been so successful for me. I've got massive amounts of confidence in them. However, on this lake, there's a stupid amount of roach in here. Like literally, whatever you chuck in is getting shifted about by the roach. Even nuts, you know, they're just picking them up, sucking them and just swimming off for them. You just see these nuts going off everywhere, you know. I thought I'd use some crushed tigers this time, see if I could choke them a bit, but it didn't seem to work. Anyway, so yeah, because of that reason, the shorter soft rigs that I use are going to get moved around quite easily, and if they're getting moved around easily, there's a good chance that hook could get impaled into, you know, a little bit of twig, or it might just sort of upset the presentation. So I've gone over to something a little bit stiffer, and it's very similar to what Adam Penning uses, and I think it was last month I said that 95% of my fishing I use a lead clip. Well, this is one of the other 5% because I'm not using a lead clip, I'm using a helicopter system. And the reason for that is because I'm using a short, stiff hook link, 25-pound fluorocarbon. I want that to be able to move around freely. And that movement, you know, obviously enables it to go up into the fish's mouth, and even the loop on the swivel, rather than a knot or a small loop, you know, there's quite a big loop on there, that too just gives it that bit of movement so that wherever the fish comes from, you know, the rig's able to go up into its mouth and do its job. Now, the way Adam Penning fishes it is with a whipping knot, but I don't know how to use a whipping knot, so I've just done a 4-turn grinner onto the hook and put a little bit of shrink tube over there, which I also just sort of make as a little kicker. And then what you see is that when the hook bait's lifted up, you imagine that's going into the fish's mouth, bang, 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 that hook point is always dropping exactly where it wants to be. And you'll also see I'll set it up by the eye of the hook rather than further down, and that's because, you know, it almost makes the hook and the bait as one, if you like. As soon as that gets sucked into the mouth, bang, the hook and the bait is in the mouth. It's not like a hook trailing behind the bait. And obviously, again, because of that short hook link, there's very little movement before the fish hits the resistance of the lead. And I'm using a 4-ounce lead as well to add extra resistance. And yeah, it sort of does the business. Obviously, I think Adam called it the sort of bottom bait chod rig many years ago, and it's something that is used with a hell of a lot of success, something that I've dabbled with a little bit over the past couple of years, but not very often, if I'm honest with you. But in this situation, yeah, it's absolutely perfect. And yeah, I've obviously lost 1 out of the 5 bites I've had. Or was it 6 bites? Yeah, 1 out of the 6 bites. That was obviously just a poor hook hold, but you do get the occasional one, don't you? Yes, very successful little rig. I've got a tiger nut on there, as you can see, and that's just screwed on using one of the little bait screws. And I've just chopped off the top of that to give it a flat edge, which in my mind means that it's going to come up into their mouths easier than a round one. So, and also it just lets out them flavours a lot better, doesn't it, taking the skin off of it. Plenty of attraction. And it's mad actually just how attractive just a single tiger, or a tiger with like a few around it, a little bag can be, you know. I was thinking especially in a lot of situations, fish come across very blatant traps, you know. If you go out into a lake and you see your bait in your baited spot, should I say, it's really obvious for those fish. So if you make something that's a little bit less obvious, then that can be a massive edge. And also, the tigers are a massive edge. Just there's so many people who just never even used them. Obviously a lot of lakes ban them, but if they're not banned and people aren't using them, get yourself on the tigers and I assure you your results will be a lot better. Top tip. Well, that was another long one, wasn't it? Hope you enjoyed that. I certainly did. 2 days out with Ritchie Mcdonald was thoroughly entertaining, and I'm really looking forward to getting back out with him again. He's well up for it, and so am I, so I'm sure we'll be getting plenty more of his awesome stories in the future. What a character. Lovely fella. Right, good news and bad news. The good news is that the last issue actually got 107,000 views in less than a month, which is obviously fantastic. But the bad news is that the actual contributions this month were actually lowest they've been for a long time, and I think there's probably a couple of reasons for that. Obviously I do understand that current climates, everything is a bit of a struggle, like the fuel prices and shopping prices and everything has just gone up so high that, you know, there's a lot of people struggling out there, and times are hard, so I do appreciate that. Also I think maybe because it's slipped to the middle of the month now, so I'm actually considering moving it back to the first of the month, and hopefully that might help with the contributions too. But what might also help with the contributions is to offer you a little bit of incentive. So this month we have got a Carp Life fully loaded brew kit bag, which has got a multitude of items in it, all fantastic quality stuff. There's the cooker in there, which I've been using for quite a long time now. Not this particular one, you're getting a new one. And the piezos on them just seem to work forever, which is something that I've never found in the past. All the piezos I've used before have let me down pretty quickly, and then obviously you're relying on a lighter, and if you're not a smoker, then that can get you in trouble occasionally. Talking of lighters, there's also a lighter in there, which is a jet flame lighter, handy for doing your blobbing with as well. But yeah, super lightweight, super good quality, and seems to last quite a long time. Obviously you get the bag that it all comes in, and in that bag you've got a plate, fork, spoon, knife. We've got 2 cups, not just one. You've got one for yourself, one for your guest, or if you like Adam Penning, you've got one for your coffee and one for your tea. Strange man. Kettle, super smart kettle, hand finished in the UK with that nice woven handle there. A flask, which is obviously handy for your milk, or if you want a water bottle, you know, because you're trying to use less plastic when you're walking around the lake instead of your plastic bottle. Obviously you can fill that up and take that around with you as well. And like I said, all this stuff is made to the highest quality. I've been using most of these bits and bobs for over a year now, and yeah, none of it's let me down. This is a nice little neoprene pouch, which is like a gas cosy to keep your gas running better in the colder months, but also just smartens up your swim, doesn't it? You know, rather than having that silver gas bottle there, got a nice smart Carp Life logo one, yeah, which looks nice and neat. We've also got 3 tubs, which obviously can be used for tea, coffee, sugar, that kind of thing. But if you did want to use them for pop-ups, because you wanted to glug some up, then you can also use them for that. They've got the little seal in the top there, just to keep them airtight and waterproof as well. So that prize, I think there's a teaspoon, we've got a hand towel. Well, actually there's 2 hand towels, because you get one in with the dining kit as well. So yeah, all those bits and pieces are available separately from Carp Life, or they are available as a fully loaded kit, minus the lighter. They're available separately. So yeah, you could win one of these. Got one of them to give away, and then we've also got some more of the Jag Safeliner Mark II limited edition green bobbins. Well, this is the full kit, and I think they're about 30 quid each in the shops, but they're not actually available in the shops because this green coating is limited edition. I think there was only ever about 90 of them made, and yeah, we've got them to give away. So yeah, 3 sets of them, 3 sets of 3, and the brew kit bag. like I say, if anyone contributes £5 or more, you'll go into the draw and potentially win one of them. It's a little way of saying thank you to you guys who do actually contribute off your own back. I know it's a lot to ask, you know, giving someone something for free and then asking for contribution towards it, but you know, my ethos with this show is that I like it to be available for everyone to watch, whether you can afford it or not. Obviously, if it comes to it, I will have to move it to a subscription website, but I would much rather keep it on YouTube for all to enjoy and all to benefit from any information that we manage to get from all the anglers that we get out with. Yeah, I don't really want to be like competing with all the other boys doing their subscription thing, if I can help it, but it is an option in the future if it comes to it. Right, thank you very much for watching once more. Please click subscribe if you don't already. Please click like, because that costs nothing. And then, like I say, if you'd like to support the show, keep it on YouTube, then you can make a contribution via PayPal. You don't actually need a PayPal account for that. If you click on the link that's in the information below this video, that takes you straight onto a page where you can pay with a card itself. You don't need a PayPal account to do so. Obviously, some people just, you know, put in £2-3 quid a month. Some people put in £5 a month, and there's a few others that put a bit more than that. So whatever you can afford, you know, it is a pay as you feel thing. Obviously, the less you earn, the less you're going to be able to afford. If you do earn a bit more than other people and you are a bit, you know, flush and you do want to chuck in a few more quid, obviously, hugely appreciated, but no pressure to do so. Right, everyone, I'm going to sign off there because I think I'm rabbiting on a little bit here, ain't I? And I've got to get back and get this edited ready for Sunday. Thanks once more for your contributions and kind words and everything else. Big love, have a lovely month, and I'll see you next time.